Donald Trump must want to be in courts round the clock in his new administration because his executive orders are resulting in exactly that. That's on one half or one side of the coin. On the other side of the coin, he's tied up with trying to focus on retribution and retaliation against government workers, the Department of Justice, federal workers, people that he thinks were disloyal to him, like former Joint Chiefs of Staff General Mark Milley, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and others. And he's costing the taxpayers tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars as he tries to fire Department of Justice officials illegally without due process, tries to do the same thing to federal workers, all because Russ Vought, yep, who's that? Russ Vought, the incoming director of the Office of Management and Budget, and more importantly for this purpose, the self-proclaimed father of Project 2025, told them to do so. I break it all down for you on a new episode of Popac Live on the Midas Touch Network. Take a listen. Let me talk about retaliations that are going on by the Trump administration and how that's going to end up in the court system before we take our next break. You've got the petty ones that also have real-world implications. When you pull somebody's security detail, you're putting them at risk. Mark Milley, who basically put his hand between Donald Trump and the nuclear button, called his counterpart in China, apparently, and told him, don't worry, I won't let Donald Trump start World War III. So incensed Donald Trump that Donald Trump, we know from the Mar-a-Lago investigation, Donald Trump started showing national war plans, Iranian war plans that they were planning to do, to say, see, I wasn't the one who was going to attack Iran. It was Mark Milley, because Mark Milley came out against him in a New Yorker magazine interview. And that was part of the Mar-a-Lago problem, because he was showing top secret stuff to people that didn't have top secret classified clearance. Well, now he's decided through Pete Hegseth, his lackey, to go after Mark Milley, whose body of work and valor is unassailable, except by Donald Trump. They're going to knock him down a peg and take off one of his clusters, one of his stars. They're going to impact his pension and take away his national security clearance and his security detail. I mean, this is not, for those that are just joining America late, this is not supposed to be America and how it operates. You don't take Department of Justice lifelong prosecutors and staff, and because you're pissed that they did their job and investigated you and you eventually got off, you don't pay them back and show them the door and fire them and say, well, you could always appeal me if you don't like my decision. No other president has ever purged the Department of Justice the way Donald Trump is doing it, And for those that are wondering, well, why didn't they leave when Jack Smith left? Because I got asked that question. Jack Smith was a special counsel. He came out of something else. Some of them come from private practice. He came as a war. He was in Kosovo doing the war crime trials, and was a prosecutor there, and came back in a temporary basis as a special counsel, not as an actual main justice career line prosecutor. And so he quit. He was like, I'm done. I turned in my report the first week in January. I don't want to be around for the firing. He released all of his other special counsels and other people he brought in for this particular purpose to go back to private practice or whatever they were doing, and good night. But the career prosecutor is somebody who's been there through thick and through thin, through administration after administration. This is their career. Like, my career was to be in private practice. My career was to be not in the government, was to represent people's interests, to seek justice for them in our courts of law. That's my career. And it would be like telling me now at my age, which shall remain nameless, telling me now at my age that your career is over. You're done. Hang up your spurs. I know you've worked since law school, since clerkships to do this. You've reached the pinnacle of your career, but now you can go work somewhere else. And it's not that easy. The top creme de la creme of, the bureau chiefs and the people that ran certain divisions within the Department of Justice, they'll get plum jobs in top law firms. But these others, they don't want plum. They don't want to go into private practice. They want to be prosecutors. And so this has dashed their dreams and their hopes and shown them the door without compensation. This group's not even being offered compensation. So when they sue successfully under the Merit Service Board and civil service rules, where do you think that money's coming out of? You and me. Not Donald Trump. He doesn't pay taxes. But you and me. when he tries to get rid of civil servants by transferring them to jobs that he knows they don't want to do, or forcing them to come back from furlough at lower pay or this or that, and knowing that they're going to quit, and offering them, dangling them 7 months of severance if they don't want to work for him, which none of them do. Where are those dollars coming from? I thought people voted for him to save money, that he was going to right the economy, that he was going to fix, egg prices and gas prices and rent prices and things that matter to everyday pocketbooks. I thought that was the reason he got elected. Who voted for any of the things that I've been talking about for 46 minutes on Popac Live? Who? Buyer remorse? How about voter remorse? If we ran, here's a thought experiment. Here's a tabletop thought experiment for our crowd. Put it in comments. If we ran this election again, would Donald Trump pull the numbers that he pulled in the last election by running on a phony populist message and then surrounding himself and being completely corrupted and co-opted by billionaires and trillionaires who invested in him? Would he win again? I'd like to know the answer to that. Put that down in the chat. So what do we do about this? Well, the inspectors generals who were fired in violation of law are going to bring a lawsuit against the Trump administration that you and I and our taxpayer dollars are going to have to pay for. Same thing with the Department of Justice. These other people, if it violates, the code of related to military, the military code of justice, or military codes related to how you can't just demote a person and go, yeah, I don't like the way you look. I don't like what you did to me. You're losing a star. There has to be a process, a due process. We require that in the law. You can't just fire a civil servant, a Department of Justice prosecutor. You have to, what's the cause? You have to give progressive discipline, like a warning, training, a note in the file, that kind of stuff. You can't just show up one day and go, nah, you're out. But Donald Trump thinks you can until we stop him at in the court system. Welcome back. That's a brand new podcast. I call it Popac Live for a reason. I joke that it's like Jimmy Kimmel Live, except without Jimmy. But it is with me. 5 years in the making. I stand on the shoulders of Legal AF, the podcast. But it's me for about an hour every Tuesday. I'm unrestrained. I don't pull any punches. I don't take any prisoners. I do answer your questions that you leave in chat on the live versions, and I do give my answers without any restraint whatsoever. Nobody tells me what to say on Popac Live. Come join me there Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Midas Touch Network, and then over here on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Hit the free subscribe button as we build this pro-democracy channel as well. See you on the next episode of Popac Live, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Midas Touch Network. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.